Good morning, coffee moaners. I hope you're well this morning. If you're wondering where Mark is, he's actually just over there, pressed up against a wall, trying to remedy his hump. He's got a hump that me and the girls have been trying to just gently tell him about it. Most people have a hump, Mark.
Apart from you, because you've got perfect posture.
Well, I do think my ballet training helped me. So I think it's good. No, you are good, though.
Yeah, but I want to get...
You are now doing something. Show them your exercises.
No. You can go fuck yourself with a lollipop.
I am seeing an improvement already in the way that you're... Listen, once the hump goes too far, then we're in a problem.
You're
we can't
giving
remedy
me the
it.
hump. Big time.
So Mark has developed quite a hump. And
I thought I was doing something about it. You've got a fucking sesame seed on your lip. Do you remember when you asked me on the way to the producers if I would pick spinach out from your arse? Do you remember that?
Oh my good God.
Do you remember that?
You are so disgusting.
You brought it up.
I did not say that.
Welcome to Coffee.
This is the problem, you see. He's his own best entertainment.
I'm not. I just can't believe that.
You buy tickets on yourself.
Don't
go
start
in,
that bullshit.
You do, and you sit down.
No, I don't. I'm not saying you're enjoying it at all.
And
I trip into stupidity and I then get embarrassed.
And you entertain yourself.
No, I don't. You're the show off. Take your knickers and blow off. What is it?
Are you okay?
What is it?
Show off, pick your nose and blow off.
Yeah. I think we really need to lean into the moaning aspect of coffee moaning. I think it's our USP.
Oh, I think we moan quite a bit.
I think we need to moan more.
Well, let's just tell the people what we're going to be talking about. And then I'm going to talk to them about prunes. So, special needs changes. Just because Labour isn't unpopular enough.
Just because Labour isn't unpopular.
They've decided to make things even worse for themselves and for the people. So we're going to be talking about that. And we have a message from my friend Hannah, who many of you know, and Hannah has a beautiful little girl who is autistic, Lila. It's actually her birthday tomorrow. And she texted me this morning, said she's absolutely terrified by the proposal. Yeah. So I've got she sent us a message to read out. We're also going to be talking about the mushroom killer.
In Australia.
Which I think a lot of people have been fascinated by. Mark, not so much, but I know that lots of people, are into sort of crime podcasts and fascinated by the whole crime genre.
We did talk about
as was she.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we have talked about it, the arrest of her and the suspicion and the trial coming up. But she's been convicted. So we're going to talk about that. And Nadia, and again, it's really important tonally, guys, that though it feels it's got beef Wellingtons and mushrooms,
because it doesn't seem real, you can almost forget that actually people have died. It's so extraordinary, the story, and it's loads of different comings and goings and fantastical lies.
Yeah, look, Zoe is shook by this story. you can already feel the Netflix series coming.
You really can.
And we're also going to talk about a journalist called Rod Liddell, who I've had the unfortunate misfortune of coming across him and knowing his ex-wife. Journalist says in his piece in the Spectator magazine, that right-wing rag, bomb Glastonbury. Obviously, he's being satirical, but I noticed there wasn't the same space afforded Bob Dylan.
I just don't believe that if somebody put bomb and with anything to do in any way with Israel about anything, that there wouldn't have been an absolute uproar yet again, showing us the double standards all the time.
Do you know whose fault it is?
Whose?
Kneecaps.
Kneecaps.
Everything's Kneecaps'
Kneecaps
fault. Everything.
Bob Dylan's.
Everyone's.
But before all of that, I want to talk to you about prunes. Who likes prunes?
Right, I've got a very good story. I know I've shared it before. I know you're bored of it. I got my first ever case of severe, I presume, food poisoning as a child. As I've shared many times. Mum, Nanny died.
It was one of the first things. It was one of the first things you ever told me.
It would have been because it was one of the first. Because I knew you were into food, and I thought, well, prunes. I only ever got my fruit in a tin.
Yes.
Yeah, fruit salad, mandarin pieces, peaches, all that kind of stuff. So when prunes came into the house, I was like, yippity doodah, this is prunes. there must have been something wrong with the water or the syrup or the liquid they came in. I had stomachache. In fact, I'm wondering whether it was the precursor to dysentery. We had dysentery when we were young. My mum, I did. And I remember being on the toilet for weeks almost. And it was the most awful. So I always had a horrible connection between prunes and profound stomach cramps.
But
I've rediscovered them as sticky, beautiful things. They're giant sultanas.
We have been buying these very sticky prunes, right? They are like caramel, nothing like what I remember when we were kids. No, because they really stick on your teeth and we'll be dealing with black bits in between our teeth. But I had no idea of the benefits, especially for women.
Sorry if you came in for the news.
Because we're going to talk about the news. Because they actually help with bone density.
Do they?
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you suffer with constipation, sort of work your way up sort of between 4 and 10 prunes a day.
They've worked for you, haven't they,
Mark? And then if not, everybody should be kind of eating 4 prunes a day. Now, my advice would be to have a few nuts with each one of those prunes.
This is a tried and tested line of advice from our Nats. The last thing I heard from Nadia last night was this.
No, Mark. No, they don't want to know.
No, they do. They want to know what happens in our late night episodes.
No.
The last thing she said
hang
to
on
me
a
was,
minute. Who wants to know what Mark is about to say about prunes? I need some quick yeses or no's. And then if there's more yeses, then you can tell it.
Cranberries for cystitis, says Laura Lee.
Yeah, but be careful you're not getting a cranberry juice with loads of sugar, because, of course, sugar is the worst thing.
I do, says Clodagh.
So they have loads of antioxidant properties and lots of vitamins and minerals. But
lots of yeses.
And listen to this. They help manage blood sugar and may contribute to bone health and cardiovascular health. The underrated prune.
No, her last words to me were, you might want to turn the light off, sweetie. The prunes have made their revenge. And that was the last I saw of you. It was an
Maybe I went a little bit over the top with the prunes.
But it's easy to. These are quite a revelation. These are, I mean, to a sultana fan like me, they are giant sultanas. Oh, look at that. Valerie Edwards. I'm 85 and eat 4 dates every morning.
Do you?
The revenge of the prunes.
So if you're having like raisins on your cereal, mix it up. Have some prunes one day, some apricots, because they're so good for you. These
I really like them.
The key is not eating too many of them.
Yeah, really nice.
And
really
dates. Of two medjool dates every day. Please make sure that you check the provenance of them. Where are you putting money when you buy your dates? Think about it.
And I do notice a difference in certain dates from certain parts of the world. I've noticed Moroccan ones are different, Egyptian ones, South African ones, American ones. Lots of places are stocking them. My
favourite are Palestinian.
Stocking them from, absolutely, Palestinian ones too. I just want to, before we plow into the news, I do want to just show you something that I think is quite.
Hang on a minute. Tony Loza thought a prune was a date. No, Tony.
No, it really isn't. Even I didn't make that mistake. This meme really made me laugh. I just want to show this to you because really we try to be an antidote to the mainstream media.
Again, we're here.
Hang on. Sorry, that's our dear friend Hannah. Why is he doing this?
Again, we're here. Very quick, very effective.
The way he looks down.
I know.
How to deal with someone who still believes
to do that when
believes the mainstream media.
Again, we're here.
That's mainstream media.
Very quick, very effective.
Looks like Tom Selleck.
I was about to say the same thing.
Anyway, that's what we try to do to the mainstream media. If you believe the mainstream media, you're fucked. You really are fucked.
Right. What story shall we do first?
I think we should do Send, and we should do... So please, this is the story of the Labour Party poised to scrap a lot of the infrastructure in schools that caters for children with special educational needs. They're going to revamp it, revitalise it. Just to be clear, in the spirit of transparency, they're not saying they're going to get rid of it, but they want to streamline it. But in the process of streamlining, they run the risk, many people worry, of removing a lot of very tailored plans that are in place for children who receive special educational needs support in schools. So having hit pensioners with the winter fuel allowance, having done the whole welfare fuck up and then the pullback, having turned away from a wealth tax for people with over £10 million worth of assets, which apparently could bring in could solve the whole problem if they bring in the wealth tax. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. This is the latest incoming potential disaster for the Labour Party.
Real. Exactly. Oh, great. I'm really glad they're going for kids with special needs as well.
I mean, it's like, is there, yeah, good point, Maya. It's like, is there not someone in their sort of comms department that's sort of saying, guys, can we just let up on the various vulnerable sections of society?
Exactly.
You know, we've had disability allowances, PIP, etc., etc. It's like, it feels like the kid, the child catcher in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, they're going around poking, prodding and picking on every most vulnerable person. It's so strange. So
what we thought we'd do, my friend Hannah, we can have that photo. Lots of you know Hannah because you've been through us throughout with her cancer story. And this is her beautiful daughter, Lila. Isn't that a gorgeous photo? Lila's, it's her birthday tomorrow.
No.
So Lila is 4 tomorrow and she is autistic. So I just texted her this morning and said, you know, how are you feeling? Well, you know, it feels like this is something we should talk about because so often, you know, parents of children with additional needs, we cannot even really imagine how challenging it is day in, day out. The smallest of details that we don't think twice about, they have to think 10 times about. So worn out, stretched to the limit. How does this feel this morning with this news? And she said,
I just whilst Nadia finds it, I'm just going to clarify. Someone's just asking, someone's just asking, what is the EHCP? The EHCPs are Education, Health and Care Plans. So the idea is that the Education Secretary has refused to rule out that they're going to scrap these EHCPs. These are specific documents that deal with the individual teaching requirements of individual students. So like a tailored program of support for a child. And I think what they're going to try and push towards is a more cost-effective, generic type of system that doesn't cater so much for the individual child's needs. So that's what EHCP stands for.
So while I read out Hannah's message for us, maybe Mark, you can have a look and see if you are a parent here with a child with additional needs, because we know it's important to give you guys a voice. So this is from Hannah. I'm terrified. These ministers say they are listening to educators, campaigners and parents, but it's very hard to trust they won't already have their own agenda set. That the plan is to make an already incredibly difficult system to access and navigate harder to access. Lila's plan is a lifeline. It means the local authority are legally bound to provide the support she needs in order to access education. And that's just an education, not the best education, just an education. For example, Lila is nonverbal. Her plan details just 3 one-hour face-to-face contact sessions with a speech and language therapist a year. A year. What her plan did mean, however, is that mainstream schools could clearly see they could not meet need, inverted commas, which meant a place that a special provision was given. We should be judged by how we treat the most vulnerable in our society. Those in power need to think on that. Beautiful, perfect message, Hannah. She says meeting need is a big phrase used in special educational needs and disabilities. All talk is about meeting needs of a child. So it works all ways. Can a school meet need? Are they meeting the needs of a child currently? That EHCP documents what the child needs are and how they can be met. So they need those documents because that is what lays it out.
And the important thing about those documents is they are tailored and specific to the child in question. I'm going to read out lots and lots of comments coming in. Victoria Moore says SEN is already a nightmare. May Edmondson says, I'm going to trot through quite a few before we then sort of to pick up the story. May Edmondson, they've messed with the wrong people. SEN mums and dads, they are warriors.
No,
Clodagh Egan, I'm a special needs assistant in Ireland. There's not much support in our school. Kids need OT, speech and language therapy, and we don't have anything.
Good God.
Wow. Amy, I just want to be a mum, not battle even more.
Exactly.
The government really doesn't understand.
Oh, sweetheart.
Christy and Ruben, my son has gone to his transition day at his mainstream school. I have the tribunal next week to get him into a special school as they cannot cater for his level of need. Everything is up in the air.
Bless you. So sorry,
So
Christy.
sorry, Christy. Christine Bett, it feels like your government is doing what our government did here in New Zealand with our special needs children.
Oh, God. How did it turn out?
Yeah. So Sarah Witherington, let's see the government walk in our shoes and know the challenges. I'm so glad I'm not starting again. My son is 17 now and attends sixth form SEN college.
So you must be feeling, huge empathy for people with younger children.
Absolutely. I mean, and
Well, it's like my friend Hannah. She is, she has stage 4 breast cancer. She is having treatment. She's the most brilliant mom. She is so focused, and the whole of her life really is focused on staying as well as she can and looking after Lila to the absolute best of her. But her absolute dream is to see Lila speak before But anyway, so the fact that she's already going up a hill, pushing a truck, and now there could be another truck put in front of her. And for me, she's symbolic of so many of you, of thousands upon thousands of you in this country. So you must make your voices heard. And it's so hard because you've already got so much that you've got to do.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad that we are doing this today, and we're going to keep on with it as well, because
I mean, we could.
It's like Hannah says. It's like whenever they say, "Oh, things are undecided," and they don't quite answer the question, everybody's left with the feeling everything's been decided.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's all the plans are ready, and they're just going to suddenly come out of the blue, and everyone's just going to have to accept it.
I have to confess,
That's what's scary.
I think this government is in an absolute crisis of communication. Its ability to sort of do the research before announcing a change, or allowing us to know that certain things are going to be looked after or still in place before they open the dialogue. It's like they just kind of put a grenade in really sensitive areas, let it blow up, and then damage limitate. There seems to be no coherence in government. And the most important part that I think is missing is there's no tenderness or care or concern for the individual stories that are involved in this. I mean, we went through something very similar with poor Hannah and the whole kind of, and her two not being available. There's such a kind of cold, implacable sort of just nothingness that comes from government. Hi, Michelle Nye. I hope you're well.
It's upsetting for special needs staff, of course, because they want to do their best for the children. My husband is a music therapist, is fighting for their rights. It's
madness.
Is there nowhere else you can look?
Yeah.
To save these pounds?
So just to read, a petition or a letter has been issued to the Education Secretary. It's been signed by the likes of Jane Asher, Cary Grant, Chris Packham, the actress Sally Phillips. And we'll put the link underneath this live. It's interesting because it sets out what the causes for concern are. Just one paragraph I wanted to read. It was about 85% of children with SEND are educated in mainstream settings. Over 270,000 of these children have these EHCPs. These legally enforceable documents detail a young person or child's needs and the support to enable them. These EHCPs allow children and young people with all kinds of disabilities to receive an education. Without statutory support, it's extremely unlikely that ministers will achieve their aim of more children with SEND thriving. So the worry is that this campaign is calling for the EHCPs to be retained now and in the future. And if you want to read that letter, as I say, I'll put the link.
Well, as Hannah says here a number of times, meeting the needs is what they're supposed to do. And these documents, these EHCP documents, are what the child needs are and how they can be met.
And what are they going to do with all the information? Are they just going to simply scrap it? I mean,
Hannah has had to fill in reams of forms. I mean, I just literally wouldn't be able to do it over the time that I've known her. It is a constant thing. She's always fighting. There's a next thing, the next thing, looking everywhere she can. She's so proactive for her daughter.
Faith Goodman asked a good question. What happens if you home educate EHCP children? Do you get any help? Good question.
I don't know. Good question.
Christ. And they're trying to erode even the ability to home educate. It's like stay in the system, be helped in the system. The whole system is about, it feels, again, with the Labour government, that they are tightening and making more regimented and more limited and less nimble a system that's already not delivering. If you make the system more any system that becomes more streamlined invariably becomes doesn't cater for the individual more and more. The more you streamline and make it cost effective, understandably, the more you just bring in the wealth tax. That's what I say.
Yeah, Hannah, if you're watching, big hugs. Kaz, at Dance Your Tits Off, if you're watching, big hugs. And Hannah, maybe we should get a little bit noisy about this. What do you reckon, honey? Me and you?
Campaign.
Let's get noisy. Okay, so
shall we move on to Australia and Erin Patterson, the Australian beef Wellington mushroom poisoner. This is an image of her. This is the woman who served up a mushroom beef Wellington to her in-laws, 3 of whom I believe died, 1 of whom survived.
So her husband actually survived. Yeah. He had a horrific time. Yeah. He was very, very ill.
Yeah. A horrendous story. So I've just got it here. So in Victoria, a jury in Australia has convicted the 50-year-old Australian woman, Erin Patterson, who cooked poisoned beef Wellingtons that killed 3 in-laws. She's been found guilty, as I say, by a jury. It's taken 11 weeks, the trial, hell of a long trial. And this is a story, I mean, we did cover it at the time. There was all sorts of toing and froing about whether she knew she'd then fed bits of, or claimed to have fed her kids.
The thing is, there is so many lies going back and forth. And can you get the Times article up? It's a very in-depth, or was it the Telegraph?
I haven't got the Times. Yeah.
Was it the Telegraph? Very, very in-depth. They go back and forth with all of her lies. It took the just 6 days, I think, didn't it, to come through with the verdict. Yes, very, very odd woman. And I personally would assume that she's extremely unwell. Just the simple fact of the really almost childlike lies that she told.
I'm just going to pull up some photos.
Almost like, I didn't have any cookies, but you've got the cookies all around your mouth. You know? Things like she had said that she'd gone to buy the mushrooms from a Chinese supermarket, and then she hadn't foraged for any mushrooms, but then she changed the story and said, maybe some of the mushrooms in it were foraged. I think a few weeks before, there had been a mushroom Facebook.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah. She saw on Facebook where they mapped out where they'd found these. Yeah,
so these were mushroom enthusiasts. Yeah. There was never any implication.
They weren't advocating.
They were mushroom enthusiasts, and they had plotted out where they had seen these.
These are the mushrooms.
Yeah. These death caps. I was going to say death cap mushrooms. And but I think that her mobile phone picked up that she'd been somewhere in the area. I mean, it was just, I'm surprised it took the jury 6 days, to be honest, with what we've been hearing here. The children weren't there on that day, so they didn't eat. She'd also said at that lunch, she had announced to the family that she had cancer, ovarian cancer. And then she admitted in court that actually she hadn't been properly diagnosed. She'd gone to Dr. Google because she'd been worried about her health. And then it transpired that actually she had real body issues and she'd planned to have weight loss surgery. So she wanted to pretend to her in-laws that why she'd lost weight was through cancer. I mean, crazy. Really, really batshit crazy stuff here. And she was a real crime addict, apparently podcasts and all of that. And it's interesting, actually, because I mean, crikey, she didn't learn anything, because if anyone that listens to any crime podcast would know that what you hear about the detail with which the police will go into something like this, there's no way you're going to get away with it. People in her sleepy small village are absolutely shocked, unbelievably shocked, like the most normal, mom, taking the kids out to the car to soccer practice or whatever, waving cheerio to everybody. You would never have thought it in a million years. She did say that she pretended that she had also been ill and went to hospital and then refused to be treated and demanded to be discharged. Big mistake, because if other people are dying and are that ill, are you really going to insist that you leave hospital? But she then...
Just one second.
Yeah.
Jenny Ella Cook, I read out countless comments on that story. You may have missed them, but you don't need to be getting stroppy in the comments. Okay, Jenny Ella Cook? We talked a lot. We shared about 20 comments about the story regarding
and we're gonna probably
special needs. So, you might not have been there for that bit, but we've obviously moved on in terms of the topic.
But honestly, my darling, we did. And we will carve it off, that piece, and put it as a separate thing. And we're not, and this will not be the end of it either.
No,
we're going to
absolutely.
continue to talk about this because, it's tough, really tough if you are a parent.
We spent a good 15 minutes talking about it.
It was more
earlier on, so maybe scroll back and you'll see that we do share the comments.
So then another lie was that she had made herself sick, because suggesting that she had an eating disorder. She had for many years, this is how she'd behaved when she'd been ill, and she had made herself up. So just an absolute catalogue of lies. It must have been so fascinating to be in that. None of the family were there. So fascinating to have been in there and just have watched this. This fantasy. She even said that her children, she'd fed it to her children the next day, but she'd taken off the pastry and mushroom because they were picky eaters.
Well, someone was just saying at the moment that you knew that she used the dehydrator, apparently that immediately makes the toxins infinitely worse. So that was a huge giveaway.
Well, that was another thing. She got rid of the dehydrator, but actually one of her neighbours, who obviously is really struggling, that this woman that appeared to be perfectly nice had done this thing. He said, I suppose if you're being accused of something and you have got a dehydrator, you're going to go and you're going to get rid of it because you're going to be worried that you're going to get caught.
The part of the story that I found almost a bit of a giveaway was really early on, before I think it had even gone to trial. I knew that part of the story was her having fed herself on a highly coloured plate. So that there was a clear distinction between the plates that were poisoned and the plate that wasn't. I think a lot was made of that. But one of the things that I noticed reading, as you rightly say, the Telegraph does a really step-by-step kind of blow-by-blow kind of walkthrough. Where's the motive? I mean, I know she got cross on Facebook because at some point, I think on his tax return, he described himself as single, her former husband.
So they actually, she had a very difficult first birth. You know me.
It dries out the mushrooms, the dehydrator.
You know me, I'm always the empath, always the rescuer. And like she'd had a really very, very traumatic birth. And so I was like, is this postnatal depression? Is this like some sort of, how could you do something like this? It seems so irrational. And I was like, you know me. But anyway, so apparently they had been very, very friendly for years and stayed friends with the in-laws. And as she said, they treat me like a daughter. They love me like a daughter. But then apparently he did actually go for the divorce, I think.
Yeah, I think as once she saw it formalized, she kind of became
then everything
resentful.
changed, and she was sort of swearing and moaning about the in-laws.
Yeah, this is her husband's aunt, Simon Patterson's aunt, Heather Wilkinson on the left. She tragically died, and the guy on the right survived. His testimony was crucial, wasn't it? I mean, I
think he had to have a liver transplant.
Yes, he did. Yeah, I mean, he was in hospital for ages. It's just quite a dramatic story, isn't it? But really, motive it didn't feel like motive was massively discussed in the judgment.
Not yet, because maybe, I mean, the whole thing is so deranged,
I mean, it does
if you just
remind
look
me.
at the lies that was so badly veiled, then that's somebody that's not thinking logically.
I mean, it does. Someone said it's very tales of the unexpected. And again, we're not making light because people have died here. But there was a very famous story. One of the tales of the unexpected was where a woman would woo men when she was out, get them back, and then kill them with a leg of lamb, and then eat the leg of lamb. I remember being haunted by that as a kid, thinking, "Oh my God, imagine eating the evidence that you killed them with."
Exactly.
Poisoning is always such a
Sarah
weird one,
says, "I've been scared serving mushrooms ever since this story." Well, you know, there is a little something in that because you can poison people by accident. Obviously, this wasn't an accident. You do really need to know. I am astonished how many people don't know about food hygiene.
Yeah.
Like our girls do, like crazy off the scale so much, don't they?
Rice frightens me.
No, but one of our daughters was round at a friend of hers the other day, and she was cooking for her, and she said, "Mum, I just didn't know what to do." She was sort of coming out of hives because she was chopping the raw meat. And then she was like doing the salad on the same board. And then she was putting the raw meat. And then she was like mixing it all up. She said, "I was just sitting there with my eyes as big as spoons." And then my other daughter said, "Mum, there's only 2 people that I will eat meat with." Like there's me and somebody, a friend of hers who she really trusts as a cook.
Oh my God.
So I think I've gone a bit too far the other way. But yeah, food hygiene is real. Don't leave food out. Rice, cool it down as quick as you can and get it in the fridge. Extremely dangerous it can be, even if you are not a murderer.
Any of our Australian followers here, is this as big a story there? I mean, it feels like it's the sort of crime of the century, doesn't it? I mean, Frida R. Rice is the worst.
Yeah.
Accounts for the highest number of food poisoning. I work for the Food Standards Agency. Yeah. Absolutely. Bring back home economics, says Rachel Pickard. Absolutely.
Farida,
it's funny you should say that.
I can't, but I'm going to have to ask this question, Farida, right? Because this is what I don't understand about rice. How can you keep it warm in a rice cooker when you're supposed to cool down rice as quick as you can? But you can keep rice in a rice. People keep rice in their rice cooker all day. I don't. I'm too scared.
You've made me just I don't even think about rice now. I can't bear the thought of rice. I mean, just a takeaway suddenly feels like it could kill me.
It's really simple. Don't leave it out all day. Cool it down as quickly as you can. Like if you've got it in a...
I'm confused.
If you've got
what do you mean? So
if you've got it in a saucepan and you've got lots left, don't just leave it in the saucepan to cool down, because then it's growing bacteria.
What do you do with it?
Put it out on a plate or out on a tray to cool down quicker, and then put it in the fridge.
So you still let it cool down?
Yeah, you don't want to put it in the fridge.
So why would you not let it cool down in the pan?
Because it will take much longer to cool down. Therefore, while that's happening, it's breeding bacteria. So if you spread it out, it will cool in like 5-10 minutes. Whereas if you leave it in the pan, it could take half an hour.
Or just better to forever never store rice.
No, rice is fine. But
it's not. It's perilous.
It is.
Me and the girls are panic stricken.
See, look, me too. My mum always left it in the pan. Yeah, people do. But you are playing. It doesn't mean every single time. But you're just. It's a bit of a Russian roulette with any food, but rice is particularly bad. Right, okay. And if Farida's has he come back? I need this question. It's about the temperature and length. There literally was. Oh no, hang on. Can you get Frida back? Because she's talking about the rice machine. It's
about the temperature and length of time. You wouldn't leave it in the rice cooker indefinitely. I guess it's all very imprecise, Farida.
But been eating rice from rice cooker and eat it heated up next day for years. But you leave it in the pan out of the fridge. Oh, be careful. Oh, hell, Mayo, she's a scientist as well. The rice cooker theoretically stays warm enough and unclosed. That bacteria can't grow or get on it. Needs to stay over 60 degrees to prevent growth.
Oh, fuck me.
Brilliant.
No, forget it. Now suddenly the takeaway is just, I'm scared of rice. Fucking hell.
For instance, if you're refrying rice,
oh my God,
you have to make sure that every one of those grains of rice is hot. That's why when you see it being cooked in a wok, it is a ferocious heat, and they keep it moving so that every single grain of rice is.
I think you quite like the ambiguity and ambivalence and nervousness it causes.
No, I don't. I just don't want people to get ill.
No, but as a foodie, I think you like seeing us panic-stricken.
As a foodie, you are aware of the responsibility that you have.
Sonia Donovan, it's too much to take in. My ADHD brain is spinning everywhere. You have to rinse the arsenic off it first
No,
before
she's
cooking Sarah
joking.
Smith up.
There's no arsenic.
Fucking hell. Oh my God.
But
Okay.
anyway, just there's plenty out there. Go to the NHS website and check on food hygiene and just follow those.
Because for a fact, if you're listening to just this, I'm more confused now than I was a minute ago. Look at this headline in The Spectator. And now let's bomb Glastonbury. Article by Rod Liddell in The Spectator, which is a very right-wing magazine. Rod Liddell, a very right-wing journalist. And this is an article that's been published. And I just want to share the comments straight after it on an Instagram post by Marina Perkis, who co-hosts a podcast called The Trawl, which we love. She said this: where is the moral panic? Where are Lisa Nandy, Culture Secretary, and Keir Starmer? Or are we saying Rod Liddell can use his national platform to call for state violence and it's fine, but if Bob Villan chants about actual state violence, it's incitement? At least try to be consistent. When the establishment punches down, it's satire. I love this quote. When the marginalized punch up, it's a threat. This isn't just insane hypocrisy. This is a system working exactly as designed, because it's not about protecting us, the public. It's about protecting power.
Yeah. And I think, who thinks here that if the same thing was said
the other way
satirically, if you were to say, now let's bomb, I'll leave the words because actually it will then be anything to do with Israel. Do you think that would be deemed as satire? Would it be all right? What do you think?
No.
Categorically, what do you think would happen?
Categorically, well, no. I mean, look. The thing about this story is that headline is clearly satirical, but we give them.
Well, you say that.
No.
It's not clearly satirical for a lot of people.
No.
Because it's a paper that you need to pay to actually read what's inside.
Yeah.
We don't know what.
But to the in the wrong hands and seen by the wrong person, they could easily go, "Oh, that's permission to beat up anyone who goes to Glastonbury, if not bomb." Because
that's what they're saying about Bob Villan saying, whatever it is, I can't even remember now. Wiped it from my mind. But the IDF, death to the IDF. Was he really saying it to that crowd? Was he inciting people in that moment to go and shoot an IDF soldier?
Yeah,
no. So I actually can't see the difference there.
Yeah, I'm beginning to find the gross hypocrisies in so many of the kind of application of what is terrorist, what is protest, what is satire, what is critical. So it's absolutely okay to say whatever you want in the mainstream media, however satirical. I mean, when I saw the headline, I thought, well, he's not literally saying it. Just as when I heard Bob Villan, I thought, well, he's not actually saying it. And what I think you make the point really well is, it's the reaction, the knee-jerk reaction is always one of suspicion and condemnation of anyone on the so-called left or progressive or
anyone that's anti-genocide.
Or anyone who's anti-genocide.
Let's be clear.
Absolutely. The other, I mean, this is just a screen grab of a story I shared on my own Instagram yesterday.
I'm really worried.
And I just want to share this because I
keep saying, let's be clear, like a fucking politician.
Yeah,
Kick me every time I say it.
But I just want to share this because this is another example of this gross hypocrisy. So here we have an image, the text on it is what I put on it. I can't get over this one. Lammy shaking the hand of the new head or leader of Syria, a normalizing handshake with a known Al-Qaeda terrorist who chopped off heads because it suits us. But now the
West suits him.
It's fine.
Yeah.
And below, a terrorist supporter, an 83-year-old former priest, according to Keir Starmer and David Lammy. I can't stomach this hypocrisy.
But just explain. So that he is now the president.
He's the head of Syria. He's the president of Syria. And so because he's the president of Syria, and because and I'll tell you why we've normalized relationships with him, is because he wants to normalize relationships with Israel and have them the Golan Heights. I wonder if Mossad, America, or the UK had any profound knowledge that actually Assad, unforgivably corrupt and horrible, evil man, but in the downfall of that regime, I wonder if they're all thinking, brilliant, we can prop it up with an Israel-friendly regime. They can give them land.
ISIS. He served so much time in prison, this guy.
This guy's chopped off heads, but now, because it suits the West, he's a good man, he's a big man, he's a brilliant man.
Has he actually chopped off heads, Mark, or was he
part of it? The organization he was the head of is still a proscribed terrorist organization.
Just take that in. Just take that in. And there's David Lammy shaking his hand. Just really take that in. It's quite something.
And this is why something that could be just dismissed as, oh, well, it's satirical, becomes entirely, as Marina Perkins says, intolerable. When the establishment punches down, it's satire. When the marginalized punch up, it's threat. I know someone said those at Glastonbury aren't marginal, but I tell you who are marginalized, the Palestinians.
Yeah.
So let's, and that's what Bob Dylan was chanting about. Once again,
Nika picked up a Hezbollah flag off the stage and got punished immediately. I mean,
in Belfast and Derry, they still fly UDA, UVF, and IRA flags everywhere, and they're terrorist groups. So it's all Kneecap's fault, as Zoe says. I just can't. This one.
Satirically, it's all Kneecap's fault.
Yeah, this one for me, I will never be able to wrap my head around. And again, this is how the West manufactures consent. Of course, Assad was evil and unforgivable and awful. No one is pretending to get on board with it. But why does what comes in to replace it is now championed as brilliant? It was a terrorist organization. Now, I don't want to get into the nuts and bolts of how and in what ways Mossad and the Israeli government have worked with various terrorist cells in the Middle East, aligned with ISIS, but they're working with a cell in Gaza to try and disrupt Hamas and everything and sow seeds of discontent, etc. So there is nothing honorable about this man. The only thing that suits the West is he's more agreeable and he won't present an opposition. So
agreeable at the moment because he's got himself into a very, very powerful position.
But Lammy shaking the hand of the Syrian leader for me is just another symbol of the Zionist Israeli governmental occupation and Greater Israel mission extending, expanding, and succeeding.
How are we in this position?
It's outrageous.
Stood having a photograph, shaking his hand.
But an 83-year-old woman who is a terrorist supporter. Oh, there's nothing satirical about the headline. There's no sarcasm in it whatsoever. There's no sarcastic context. There's no contextual reason for this article to be named.
I actually agree. But we will all get called, what's wrong with you?
Where's your sense of humour?
Satire, for God's sake. And told that we're fucking idiots.
Yeah. Yes, if you're... This is satire. Let's check this out.
And the next contender, please. Your name, sir?
Yitzhak Shamir.
Your occupation?
The West Bank and Gaza.
And your specialist subject?
Human rights.
Mr. Shamir, you have 30 seconds starting from now. According to Amnesty International, which country has imprisoned more than 5,000 people without trial in the last 3 years?
South Africa.
No, Israel. Between 1987 and 1989, which country killed 540 unarmed demonstrators?
South Africa.
No, Israel. Which country has shot dead more than 110 children since 1987?
South Africa.
No, Israel. Which country produces the nicest oranges?
Israel.
No, South Africa.
That's satire. That's satirical.
I was just sitting here thinking, I wonder if I posted it on Instagram, what I would get from the people that foam at the mouth anytime anything is said about Israel. I wonder how that would be answered.
Yeah,
facts from 89.
Absolutely. I just want to show this funny. The day you realise you're an introvert.
Oh, I love this.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Just adorable.
Just adorable.
A few years ago, our eldest said to us, God, I really, really, really hate it. I've always hated it when happy birthday has been sung. Like, really? Yeah, and it's the way everybody slows down. Like, I'd never thought of it.
Yeah.
Happy birthday. And I think a lot of kids actually hate it. Just if you've got a little one, just say to them today, what do you think when people sing happy birthday? Wouldn't it be fascinating?
Yeah.
If 9 out of 10 children say
Find it
they
quite
fucking
sinister.
hate it. and
It's quite
a bit-
sinister.
That's what our daughter said, because it's really
It's creepy.
Mayor,
It's creepy. It is creepy.
It's the slowing down of
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
She said, I'd never thought of it.
And here's a mindful thought for us to go out on. I love this. Quantum truths you need to know. Trees emit frequencies that regulate your nervous system. Just standing near them shifts your energy.
Absolutely
Research
true.
shows trees emit subtle electromagnetic frequencies, which overlap with the alpha and beta brainwave states, the same ones activated during rest, healing, and intuition. Your body entrains to these frequencies just like tuning forks. Your nervous system matches the calm resonance
love this.
of the forest. This is coherence in action. That's why your heart rate slows, your thoughts quiet, your body starts to heal when you're around trees. It's not in your head, it's in your frequency field.
And how many times do we say nature?
Forest bathing, otherwise known as
Saves
Shinrin
us.
Yoko, is now a prescribed therapy in Japan, shown to reduce cortisol, blood pressure, and inflammation.
Prescribed.
Prescribed.
Therapy.
Prescribed. Yeah.
So it's like, I will often say to you, when I just go outside, just for 10 minutes, just go outside. But Mark is such a workaholic. He'll look at me
too.
sometimes panic stricken at the thought of taking 10 minutes to go out
I took
into
10 minutes
nature.
yesterday.
And sometimes when we go for a walk in the park, I'll just stand and hold a tree, and none of them will do it, but it really does work. It just, I don't know, it just releases this heavy feeling.
I've done
in your
tree
chest.
hugging in Malibu, darling, I tell you. Me too. First deadly mushrooms, then deadly rice, now vibrating trees. That's what
We
you get
give
on
you
Coffee Moaning.
everything.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to head off now. Something else is going to be landing on the channel
Please,
later.
please hit the subscribe button, guys. We really do love it when you do. Thank you so
and
much.
of course, it's the No Name Sunday
Oh.
show on a Monday tonight at 8 p.m.
Yeah, in the members area tonight, 8 p.m. Now, you don't want to miss it alive. And if any of you are good,
Alive? What, in case I've eaten rice?
because Mark is going to put a door
Yes.
onto the area where the bin area. So I'm going to need people's help, because we know how tits up it went when you tried to put the water filter.
It's going to
in.
be fine.
What, have you got the right tools?
I think I have.
No, not think, because it has to be done tonight.
Well, I will do my due diligence and we'll be there. See you at 8.
Oh God.
See you at 8, guys. What's the
Bye.
love? Bye. Don't sweat.